Ram just announced something that might just save them in 2025. There has been a lot of buzz about the car industry lately, and this is because most manufacturers are finding it hard to sell vehicles. Ram in particular is in a very critical position, so bad that some execs are now jumping ship. Because of this, Ram has just announced a massive price cut, and this has got the whole industry talking, especially Ford and GM. With a move like this, Ram would not only save itself, it might also steal significant market shares from its competitors. So how significant would this price cut be? What does this mean for consumers? And what does it mean for the future of the brand? Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. Back in the day, Stellantis and its brands were absolute powerhouses in the car world, practically owning the roads. Whether it was rugged Jeeps tearing up trails, Dodge muscle cars roaring down highways, or sleek Chrysler sedans cruising in style, they had it all. But these days, man, it's like they hit a giant pothole. Stellantis seems to be stuck in neutral, struggling to find its way forward. Let's kick things off with Jeep. There was a time when Jeep was the ultimate choice for adventurers. If you wanted to explore the great outdoors, conquer rugged trails, or just feel that sense of unfiltered freedom, Jeep was your ride. The brand was synonymous with adventure, like the kind of car you'd see in every camping ad or national park poster. But things have taken a sharp turn. Since 2018, Jeep's sales have dropped a jaw-dropping 44%. That's almost half their customers gone in just a handful of years. And Jeep isn't the only one hitting bumps in the road. Dodge used to be the king of muscle cars. Back in 2013, Dodge was firing on all cylinders, cranking out iconic rides like the Charger and Challenger. These cars weren't just vehicles, they were statements. But fast forward to today, and it's like someone pulled the e-brake on their momentum. Sales have absolutely plummeted, down 67%. It makes you wonder, where did all the muscle car fans go? Then we get to Chrysler, and this one's kind of heartbreaking. Chrysler wasn't just any car brand, it was a symbol of American ingenuity. If you think back, Chrysler stood for sleek designs, luxury, and cutting-edge innovation. They were the kind of cars you'd see pulling up to fancy events or leading the pack in parades. But now, it's like they're stuck in the slow lane, barely holding on. The competition in the auto industry is fierce, especially with electric vehicles and advanced tech taking over, and Chrysler hasn't really kept up. So why exactly is all this happening? It doesn't take an automotive genius to figure out why Stellantis is in trouble. The root of the problem is pricing. Stellantis has long been notorious for slapping eye-watering price tags on their vehicles, and that reputation is catching up with them big time. Let's break it down. Remember the Ram 1500 Tungsten? Sure, it's a fancy version of a pickup truck, but at its core, it's still a pickup. Nothing revolutionary or ultra exclusive. Yet stroll into a dealership and you'd see a price tag creeping well over $100,000. Seriously, 100 grand for a truck? That's not just a splurge, it's a full-on investment. And it's not just their trucks. Stellantis' entire lineup has fallen into the overpriced trap. Rugged Jeeps that used to be known for accessible off-road adventures now have price tags that feel more luxury weekend getaway than let's hit the trails. Family-friendly SUVs that should be budget-friendly? Nope, they're sitting in price ranges where they're suddenly competing with luxury brands. Even Dodge sedans, which used to be known for muscle on a budget, now seem to be flexing their prices more than their horsepower. The problem spills over into vehicles that are supposed to be affordable. Compact SUVs and crossovers, which have become the bread and butter segment for most automakers, are somehow priced as if they're premium. It's like Stellantis didn't get the memo that these segments are meant to cater to practical buyers, not luxury seekers. Now, think about the buyers they're alienating. Picture a young family hunting for their first SUV. They're looking for something reliable, spacious, and most importantly, affordable. Or maybe it's a first-time truck buyer hoping to score a solid, dependable workhorse. They walk into a Stellantis dealership, take one look at those sticker prices, and probably back out faster than a Dodge Hellcat off the line. Instead, they'll head over to Ford or Chevrolet, where prices are more realistic, or maybe even Toyota, which offers that sweet balance of quality and affordability. Stellantis seems to have priced itself out of its own customer base, leaving everyday buyers feeling like these once accessible brands are now out of reach. It's no wonder their sales are tanking when competitors are offering similar or better vehicles without asking buyers to break the bank. So what is Stellantis doing about this? Well, they've made a move that's got everyone in the car world talking, and for all the right reasons. They've just announced this massive plan to cut prices across their entire lineup, and when I say cut prices, I'm not talking about shaving off a couple of bucks here and there. Nope. They're slashing prices by up to 35%. Yeah, 35%. That's like 1/3 of the price gone. Let that sink in for a second, and here's the best part. This isn't some vague, we'll do it someday kind of promise. It's actually happening, and soon. Starting in the second quarter of 2025, Stellantis is rolling out these price reductions across the board. Picture this. Remember the Ram 1500 Tungsten, the one with all the bells and whistles that came with an eye-popping price tag of $100,000. With this new strategy, that truck will now set you back around $65,000. $65,000. Suddenly, it's not just a dream truck for the elite, it's in the same price range as trucks from Ford, Chevrolet, and GMC. This isn't just about dropping prices to look good. Stellantis knows they're in one of the most competitive markets out there, trucks and SUVs. Ford and General Motors have been crushing it for years, and Stellantis? Well, they've been lagging a bit behind. This bold move is their way of saying, hey, we're still in the game, and we're coming for a bigger slice of the pie. And honestly, this isn't just good news for Stellantis, it's great news for buyers like us. Lower MSRPs don't just look pretty on paper, they actually make a difference where it counts. Smaller price tags mean smaller monthly payments. They also open the door to better financing deals, which is a game changer for a lot of families. Plus, it gives people the feeling that they're finally getting their money's worth. No more sticker shock or feeling like you've overpaid for what's essentially a set of wheels. But of course, this isn't going to sit well with everyone. The recent depreciation in the value of new SUVs is likely to cause significant concern among recent buyers. Consider the scenario where an individual buys a brand new Dodge or Jeep SUV in 2024, investing approximately $75,000. This substantial expenditure often comes with the expectation that the vehicle will retain its value for a reasonable period, justifying the hefty monthly payments. However, the reality can be quite stark. Imagine the shock when these owners discover that their SUV's value has depreciated by nearly $25,000 within just a few months. This rapid decline in resale value can be a severe financial blow, leaving owners grappling with the implications of their investment. The immediate reaction from affected individuals is likely to be one of frustration and disappointment. The significant drop in value not only impacts their financial planning, but also undermines the perceived reliability of their investment. The only viable strategy to mitigate this loss is for owners to retain their vehicles for an extended period, thereby maximizing the utility and value derived from the purchase. This approach involves driving the vehicle for several years, potentially accumulating high mileage, which can offset the initial depreciation to some extent. For prospective buyers, this situation underscores the importance of considering long-term ownership when purchasing a new vehicle. The potential for rapid depreciation should be a critical factor in the decision-making process. Buyers need to evaluate whether they are prepared to keep the vehicle for an extended period to ensure that the investment remains worthwhile. But the truth remains that Stellantis has to do this in order to save itself. Let's talk about Ram for a bit. Ram trucks have always had this larger-than-life reputation. You know, the kind of truck that screams, I'm built for the toughest jobs, but I can still look great doing it. They've been the go-to choice for people who want raw power and bulletproof reliability paired with that rugged, work hard, play hard charm. But let's be real, lately Ram seems to have picked up a new hobby, pricing themselves out of the market. I mean, have you seen the price tags on some of these models? It's like they're daring customers to walk away. At this point, some of their trucks feel more like showroom trophies than something you'd actually take off-road or load up with lumber. Meanwhile, Ram's biggest rivals, Ford and General Motors, have been playing a completely different game. These guys are not just sitting back, they're hustling. Ford's been riding the electric wave with the F-150 Lightning, which is like the Tesla of pickup trucks, but with a way cooler attitude. And GM, they've been making bold moves with their electric vehicle strategy too, pumping out models that combine innovation with real-world practicality. On top of that, they've been working hard to keep prices in check, rolling out deals and incentives that make it hard to say no. And let's talk about 2024 for a second. Ford and GM were locked in a price war so intense it felt like a heavyweight boxing match, but with discounts instead of punches. It was a total buyer's market. Like every day was Black Friday for truck shoppers. Prices were slashed, cashback deals were everywhere, and salespeople were practically rolling out the red carpet to get you to sign. Picture this. You could walk into a Ford dealership, test drive the latest F-Series, and then casually stroll over to a GM lot, arms crossed, saying, all right, beat that deal. It was a golden age for anyone in the market for a truck or SUV. And Stellantis. Oh boy, while Ford and GM were throwing down in the ring, Stellantis was just watching from the sidelines. No flashy discounts, no big promotions, no aggressive marketing push, nothing. It was like they saw the competition heating up and decided to grab some popcorn instead of joining the fight. But here's the thing, in a market as cutthroat as trucks and SUVs, sitting on your hands is a terrible strategy. You've got to fight for every customer, and Stellantis simply didn't. Unsurprisingly, they paid the price for their laid-back approach, big time. While Ford and GM racked up sales and gained even more loyalty from their customers, Stellantis just watched its numbers plummet. It's a classic case of you snooze, you lose. And Stellantis, unfortunately, hit the snooze button one too many times. But now, with their bold plan to slash prices by up to 35%, it looks like Stellantis is finally waking up. They've realized that if they want to compete in this fiercely competitive market, they've got to bring something serious to the table. Just a few months ago, Stellantis dropped some pretty shocking news about their global vehicle shipments. They announced that these shipments have taken a serious hit. Like, we're talking a 20% drop year over year in the third quarter. It gets even messier when you zoom in on North America. Shipments there didn't just take a tumble, they completely nosedived by a staggering 36%. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The drop in shipments was actually way bigger than the drop in sales. Stellantis said their actual sales only dipped by 15% in the same quarter, okay? Only might sound a little optimistic because 15% is still a decent-sized hit, but it's nowhere near that 36% plummet in shipments. So what gives? Why the big difference between shipments and sales? Well, there are a couple of things going on here. First up, Stellantis has been rethinking its game plan when it comes to its product lineup. They've been shifting gears, probably cutting back on less popular models and doubling down on the ones they think will sell like hotcakes in the future. It's a classic case of quality over quantity, which makes sense in a market that's as competitive as ever. Second, dealerships are getting way savvier about how they handle their stock. Back in the day, it was all about loading up the lot with as many cars as possible, hoping people would come in and buy them. But now, dealers aren't playing that game anymore. They're being super cautious, only taking in models they know will actually sell. No one wants cars just sitting there collecting dust and dropping in value. But here's the thing, Stellantis problems aren't just a North American issue. This is part of a much bigger global story. Their shipments didn't just slip in the United States and Canada. Nope, they also took a hit in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and the giant markets of China, India, and the Asia-Pacific region. That's a lot of ground to cover, and it shows that Stellantis is facing some serious global challenges. It's not hard to see why. The auto industry right now is a whirlwind of change. Electric vehicles are shaking things up, supply chain issues are still a thing, and consumer habits are evolving faster than ever. If Stellantis wants to keep up, they've got to figure out how to ride this wave instead of getting caught in the undertow. Meanwhile, their competitors are out here stealing the spotlight. Ford and GM are dazzling buyers with cutting-edge electric vehicles, sleek futuristic designs, and tech that makes you feel like you're piloting a spaceship. Stellantis? They're still leaning on their older models, the ones that might have been hits in the past, but now feel a little outdated. And Ram trucks? Oh boy, this part stings a little because Ram used to own the rugged, work hard, play harder vibe. But one big reason they might be losing traction is their shift away from the iconic Hemi V8 engine. For years, the Hemi wasn't just an engine, it was a statement. It roared with power, and truck enthusiasts wore it like a badge of honor. Switching to the twin-turbo Hurricane engine, which is technically advanced and efficient, is a bold move. But let's be real, it doesn't hit the same emotional notes for die-hard Hemi fans. It's like replacing your favorite worn-in leather jacket with a fancy new coat. Sure, the new one might keep you warmer, but does it have the same vibe, the same soul? Not really. Now, let's compare this to Ford's Playbook because they absolutely nailed this kind of transition. Remember when they introduced their EcoBoost V6 engines? They didn't just ditch their beloved V8s and hope for the best. Nope. They played it smart. They kept the legendary Coyote 5.0-liter V8 as part of the lineup. It was genius, honestly. Buyers got the best of both worlds. Want something new and efficient? Check out the EcoBoost. It's got power and fuel efficiency wrapped up in a high-tech package. Still craving that classic V8 rumble that makes your heart skip a beat? Don't worry, it's right here waiting for you. That's the kind of flexibility buyers love. It's like Ford said, hey, we know not everyone's ready for this new wave of tech, and that's cool. We've still got the classic stuff you know and love. That strategy wasn't just thoughtful, it was game-changing. And that's where Stellantis is dropping the ball, by moving too far away from what made Ram trucks iconic without offering a bridge to the new era. They're risking alienating the very people who've been their biggest fans. Ram decided to chart a bold new course, but instead of straddling both worlds like Ford did with their EcoBoost and V8 combo, they chose a more abrupt path. They're phasing out the iconic Hemi V8 entirely. Why, you ask? Well, the reasons are probably straight out of an automaker's playbook. Firstly, there's fuel economy. Let's be real, the Hemi wasn't exactly winning any awards for sipping gas. It had more of a drinks like a fish reputation. Then there's the ever-tightening grip of emissions regulations, especially from the EPA in California, which might as well have automotive nemesis in their title. And on top of that, streamlining production, it's a cost-cutter's dream, saving factories time, money, and headaches. All of this makes sense on paper. The accountants, the engineers, and the environmentalists are probably nodding in agreement, but here's the reality check. None of that makes Hemi fans feel any better. Why? Because the Hemi wasn't just an engine, it was an experience. Picture this, a Ram 1500 rolling by, the deep primal growl of that Hemi V8 roaring from the dual exhaust. It didn't just turn heads, it demanded attention. That sound wasn't just noise, it was a badge of honor. It said, this truck means business. For Ram owners, the Hemi wasn't just about raw power, it was about identity. Owning a Hemi-powered Ram was like being part of an exclusive club, one with the best soundtrack on the road. Enter the new kid on the block, the Hurricane engine. On paper, it's a worthy successor. It's more efficient, packs a serious punch, and the tech behind it is cutting edge. Engineers probably stayed up late, fine-tuning it to perfection. But here's the catch. The Hurricane is quiet, too quiet. Instead of the Hemi's chest-thumping growl, you get a gentle hum. Sure, it's whispering, I've got power. But for die-hard Ram fans, that whisper might as well be silence. It's missing the soul, the raw emotion that made the Hemi an icon. Let's be fair, Ram's decision to retire the Hemi probably makes sense in the big picture. Lower emissions, better fuel efficiency, and staying on the right side of regulations are huge priorities for any automaker today. But acknowledging that doesn't make the change any less bittersweet. Because here's the thing, the Hemi V8 wasn't just an engine, it was a legacy. And when you let go of something with that much history, it's not just a business decision, it's the end of an era. Now, fans are already mad at Ram and Stellantis as a whole because of a lot of things, and so these price cuts couldn't have come at a better time. So what does this mean for the industry? If Stellantis pulls off this bold move, the auto industry could be in for a game-changing shift. Ford and General Motors aren't gonna sit back and let Stellantis take their market share without a fight. No, they're gonna have to rethink their pricing strategies, which means a potential full-on price war could be right around the corner. And trust me, a price war in the auto industry could get real interesting. Price wars aren't always a bad thing though. While they might shrink automakers' profit margins, the real winners in this scenario would be consumers. Imagine this, you walk into a dealership and suddenly, the prices on trucks, SUVs, and crossovers are way more affordable. It's like walking into the ultimate deal fest, where you can score your dream vehicle without emptying your wallet. More competition and lower prices, that's a win for buyers, hands down. And there's always a but, the price wars come with significant risks. Automakers need to find that sweet spot between affordability and quality. They can't just slash prices and hope for the best. To win this battle, they've got to keep their vehicles durable, reliable, and high-performing, all while making them more accessible to the masses. Stellantis has a tricky road ahead. If they manage to cut costs without compromising quality, they could not only win back customers who felt burned in the past, but also pull in entirely new buyers who wouldn't have considered a Stellantis vehicle before. Now, this whole strategy isn't just about Stellantis. It's going to depend heavily on their dealerships too. These are the folks who often throw in unexpected fees and add-ons, especially in high-demand segments like trucks. You know the drill. You walk in thinking you're about to get a great deal, only to be hit with extra charges that weren't part of the deal in the first place. If Stellantis can get their dealerships to play nice with the price-slashing strategy and avoid those sneaky markups, they could end up winning big time with consumers. In a nutshell, this move from Stellantis could set off a chain reaction in the auto industry. While price wars could benefit consumers with more affordable options, automakers will need to tread carefully, balancing cost reductions with maintaining the quality that buyers expect. For Stellantis' price-cutting strategy to actually work, there's one big challenge they're going to have to tackle: their dealerships. It's all about ensuring that they don't add on hidden fees or markups that would undermine the promise of those sweet low prices. It's a tricky balance. Dealerships need to stay profitable, but they can't let their customers feel like they're getting less value after the price cut. To make this work, Stellantis will need to keep a close eye on their dealership network, making sure everyone's on the same page with pricing guidelines. It's not just about putting the right numbers on the price tag. Stellantis will likely need to incentivize dealerships to comply with the new strategy, offering rewards or bonuses for sticking to the agreed upon prices. If Stellantis can pull it off, they'll have a huge competitive advantage. These dealerships could become some of the most attractive spots for consumers, offering both affordability and quality. But let's not forget the dealers themselves. While lower prices might mean slimmer margins on each sale, the increased volume of sales could more than make up for it. Think about it. If Stellantis can boost demand by offering more affordable vehicles, dealerships could sell more units and keep their bottom line healthy. Plus, with a revitalized Stellantis brand and vehicles that offer more value, these dealerships could start attracting new customers, building long-term relationships, and ensuring repeat business for years to come. For Stellantis, this price-cutting strategy is about more than just slashing prices. It's a strategic move to rebuild their brand and regain trust. Stellantis doesn't want to be known as a brand that offers cheap deals but at the cost of quality. Instead, they're aiming to show that it's possible to have both: a great price and great performance. By making their vehicles more affordable, they're telling consumers that you don't have to compromise on quality just to get a good deal. And let's be real, this is the kind of strategy that could get people's attention. Imagine getting your hands on a fully loaded Ram 1500 for just $65,000, or scoring a Jeep Grand Cherokee at a price that's much more affordable than you thought possible. For those who have been eyeing these vehicles but thought, there's no way I can afford that, this is a game changer. Stellantis is making these once-out-of-reach vehicles much more attainable, and that's a dream come true for budget-conscious buyers. So what do you think? Will Stellantis be able to pull this off? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notification bell to stay updated with all